We did some work years ago too with Brendan Norcross, where we took a boat all the way along the Aleutian Islands, and that was fascinating because you get to a lot of places that are very hard to access otherwise. And we were working on a Fish and Wildlife Service boat that would resupply some of the bird cams that they have in the Aleutian. So I would jump on every opportunity that I got to help resupply the camps and to get on land and just look around.
All of the Arctic research that I've been involved in, we have actually contracted out our work onto other boats. Most of these boats are renovated boats. The last boat that I've been on for cruises involved with my project has actually been a renovated crabbing boat.
Which was a very nice vessel. For the type of work that I was trying to do, it was a little bit challenging because I'm trying to lower a really large, heavy piece of equipment onto the seafloor and collect a mud sample. And my ultimate goal is to collect a mud sample that isn't terribly disturbed. So I would like to have, when the instrument comes up, I would like there to be a sample that has where I can actually see the surface of the sediments as they are on the bottom and not all sort of stirred up. And one of the challenges with the smaller vessel was that it was difficult to safely handle that piece of gear over the side, especially if there were any heavy seas. And if the boat is pitching really hard, it's difficult to gently set that equipment on the bottom, and so smaller vessels are just less stable platforms by nature.
So they've done a spectacular job. The people we work with have renovated the boat to fit our every need.
Especially biological work, because they're quite used to dragging nets through the water and picking up crab pots and things like that.
But it's still a crabbing boat. There's still size restrictions. The winch is as big as it can be to fit in the space, and we are limited by just the basic structure of the boat as much as they have tried to improve it.
We haven't had the vessels to go out in the Arctic Ocean, and before, in the 2 or 3 decades before, there have only been a few icebreakers that are available.
The U.S. only has one real icebreaker for the Arctic, which is the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Healy.
And the Coast Guard had their own missions. And so oftentimes you'd go on an icebreaker, with an opportunity to get samples, but that wouldn't happen because they'd get taken away for a rescue or something.
It's also only one vessel, and there's a lot of people that would like to use it.
So with the Sikuliaq, we now immediately more or less doubled, or with its capabilities, maybe tripled our ability to do science in subpolar and polar oceans.
You could use a helicopter, but it's very expensive, very limited load, only take 2 or 3 people. A vessel to go out on the ice and be able to stay there long enough to do the experiments and actually make the requisite measurements was really vital.
Also, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration owns several vessels that some of which operate in this region as well. So I've participated in cruises on some of their vessels, which they have a couple that are specifically outfitted for fisheries research. So trawling in midwater with really large nets.
Fishing boats, even though a lot of them operate in or near the ice, they are, for obvious reasons, very hesitant to spend a lot of time in ice-covered areas because the ice moves around quite quickly, and trawling in particular, you're trying to travel in a fairly straight line for half an hour or an hour.
There were foreign vessels that are available, but only 2 or 3 that were in the Arctic, from Germany and Sweden, a few Russian opportunities, but it really means it's limited. So that was one of the big pushes for getting a vessel of our own.